afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. Ali Corman, Ed Carson here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, where we did see a number of stocks triggering buy signals as we followed up on the follow through.
That's right. We had sort of a quiet session and sort of picked up steam at the end of the day. Mosaic, Williams companies, both flash buy signals, and I suppose Expedia as well.
Okay, we'll look at those first. Let's analyze the market action by taking a look at the major indexes. Here is the Nasdaq composite here, which gained about 0.8% by the end of the day. Same for the Dow. The S&P 500 up about 0.7%, and the Russell 2000 up 1% by the end of the day. So like you said, gaining some steam in the latter part of the session, but good to see that follow up on a key day in the market that yesterday was.
Yeah, I mean, even at the day's lows, it wasn't that bad. It would have been, okay, that's understandable after those two big gains. I mean, as long as we didn't lose a lot of those gains. But it was nice to see that follow up and see another broad-based advance. So, it gives you a little bit of hope. Yesterday, it was a follow-through day, which means it's a confirmed uptrend. There's still some caveats because not a whole lot of stocks are in range, but keep on building that momentum, and more stocks are going to start flashing buy signals.
Yeah, we want to see those actionable buying opportunities, and we're seeing them not really in the traditional.
No, they haven't been in the growth areas. Those are still weak. I mean, some of those had big gains on Friday and then on Monday, but definitely a number of them sold off quite a bit, going into it. So they look a lot like the Nasdaq or worse, and still are recovering. But there are some names that are not in growth that are doing better, like commodity and some financials.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Nasdaq 100. Here is QQQ, which finished the day right around its 200-day line. So this is a pretty key technical test here, Ed, because if we can see the Nasdaq 100 getting above that 200-day line, that would be another thing that would make us feel better about this market. But it could be an area where it might struggle with and turn tail. What do you think that might say about the conditions that we're in right now?
I mean, if it pauses for a day or two around here, like just, around that, that's fine. In some ways it's good, because then if it breaks through, you really know it means something. But yeah, if it comes down really sharply, gives up a lot of the gains that we've seen in recent days, that would really be a negative sign for the market. One positive is that, look, we already have Apple and Microsoft. They've been leading among the techs that are doing well. They're sort of actionable now. And it looks like after the close, Google reported obviously very early on, but it's doing quite well. It's up 4%. So that's a good sign. As you can see, the QQQs are up 0.3% after hours. Not the biggest thing in the world, but so that's having a positive effect. So that would be definitely a nice sign there.
All right. Well, now let's take a look at the S&P 500, which is looking better than the Nasdaq. It's not only above its 200-day line, but above its 21-day line now as well.
Yeah, it's just coming close. I mean, it looks pretty sharp here, but the drop was a lot less, than the Nasdaq. So it's coming back. This is what's been leading the market really since early, almost a year now, and that's continuing to be the case.
Okay, and got to take a look at the Dow too. Blue chips, see how they're doing back above the 200-day, the 21-day line, and now closing in on a 50-day line that is turning a little bit lower, but it's getting pretty close to that 50-day.
I mean, when you combine energy stocks, financial stocks, and then if your techs happen to include Apple and Microsoft, that's a pretty good combination for an index. So not too much of a surprise to see this bouncing back relatively well.
Okay, and small caps. This has been the trouble spot in the market for a while here. So trying to find a bottom and turn higher. We'll take a look at the weekly chart just to kind of put it in perspective. The last month or so, especially pretty ugly, but trying to stabilize at these levels. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of work to do. I mean, you can sort of say, if you use this as a proxy for market breadth has looked pretty good the last few days, but man, it has looked awful the last few months and pretty weak for the past year. So seeing that breadth, even if the Russell doesn't have to lead necessarily, but if you could just avoid lagging so badly, would be really a positive sign for the market rally.
Yes, it will. Well, fertilizer stocks are among the ones that we've been keeping very close tabs on, including Mosaic here, MOS, up 9% today, a huge gain with heavy volume accompanying the move, making it a name that we added to Swing Trader today.
Yeah, this was a big move. I didn't realize it back when we were doing IBD Live, but it appears that there's some international stuff like Belarus, which is a big producer of potash. They're diverting some shipments from Lithuania to some other Russia ports, due to various sanctions. So for whatever reason, a lot of the fertilizer stocks had a great day, but they've been doing well already. There's good pricing for them. You could have probably bought this off of a trend line. And honestly, the trend line would have been almost about where the old buy point was or something, especially when you really got into it. As it rises a
Right.
little bit and you feel comfortable with it, that old buy point isn't really valid, but it doesn't hurt. So there's nice to see strength in this area, this commodity area. That has pricing power. And so probably a way to not worry about inflation so much. And the supply chain issues, geopolitical or otherwise, are actually helping some of these North American companies.
Mm-hmm. Well, 2021 was a year of breakouts failing. Maybe 2022 is the year of second chance breakouts working. We'll have to see because if you take a look at WMB Williams companies, this wasn't quite a failed breakout, but it did have a pretty sharp appearing handle before it went on to these highs here.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stocks that look like Mosaic and have that thing where they
Mm-hmm.
had that spike down. Obviously, the market spiked down last Monday and had a lot of issues. So this would have made even an early buy. If you bought it off that trend line we talked about, oh, you want to buy these early energy stocks off the trend line, that would have been tough like a few weeks ago, like when, not even there, like way there and coming over because it would have undercut that. I mean, maybe if you weren't looking, you would have been okay, but that would have been tough to take. Looking strong now. Look, energy stocks, it's interesting. I mean, this is a natural gas play, but a lot of energy stocks were leading today, even though oil prices were flat. I don't think energy stocks were doing a whole lot. But I mean, natural gas prices, even then, this is after a few days of oil going up and up and up, and the energy
Mm-hmm.
stocks are sometimes going, not really moving. I don't know what it is. Maybe there was just a flow because growth stocks weren't rebounding as much today, at
Mm-hmm.
least not until the very end. So maybe people were just shifting some money back in here, but obviously higher prices in general are leading the way for these companies. This is a breakout. Is this going to work? I mean, that's always an issue here. How much longer does energy have?
Right.
We have an OPEC meeting tomorrow, which may not have a huge impact on anything, and especially not a natural gas play, but just that is something to watch out for, just in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been an impressive group move, that is for sure. And now let's take a look at Expedia, EXPE. This is one of those second chance breakouts too here, Ed. But Expedia reports earnings in just a little over a week. Do you think that's enough time to build enough of a profit cushion?
You might be. I mean, it depends. I mean, that's the thing. You could have probably bought it today as it sort of got above the old buy point, just because of sort of a draw the line kind of situation. Where was the bulk of trading, or a trend line? I mean, even though the buy point isn't really valid, that's where the bulk of trading is. It just had a couple of intraday spikes. So you could do that, or
Mm-hmm.
you could wait till it gets above 191. I mean, at this point, if you didn't already buy it, you might want to wait. It's had such a run. I mean, it'd sort of be nice if it put in a handle here, like a real handle, because it's run up a lot in the past several days. But once again, I think people should look at travel stocks. It looked like they were going to go, and then they just paused. It seemed like the whole market selling off hit it more than Omicron because
Mm.
cases are definitely coming down. So that should be something looking forward. I've seen reports about, oh yeah, bookings are picking up again, at least on airlines. So
Mm-hmm.
one would expect that to get better. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
that's a
nice.
huge, huge annual earnings estimate there for 2022.
And before and above pre-pandemic
Right.
highs. So that even tells you, okay, because it's one thing when some of these things are rising and they're hitting new highs. I remember David Ryan a year ago was saying, well, wait a second, some of these
Yeah.
stocks, their profitability isn't really going to be
Better.
close
Yeah.
to what it was in 2018, 2019. And this one is. And so those are
Yeah.
some positives. So this whole space, like this and some hotels, I think is something to watch for
Mm-hmm.
sure, coming in the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, leisure travel booking group 35. So yeah, don't sleep on this group. All right. Thank you so much, Ed. Really appreciate it. And if you are a Swing Trader member or trialist, make sure you head on over to swingtrader.investors.com because we have our monthly Swing Trader Scorecard webinar happening in right about 15 minutes from now. So I will see you all there. And yeah, we'll see you back on IBD Live tomorrow morning. It's going to be another great show because this is a pretty critical weekend. So we'll see everyone there, investors.com/IBD live. Thanks. And we'll see you right back here tomorrow.